everybody, welcome back, and thank you for viewing this SingularityFanPages.com exclusive video, or listening, whatever you prefer. This is another archived radio special from DT Fan Radio. This special and the corresponding specials were sort of highlights from some of the DT Fan Radio shows that were the bigger, more popular shows that I wanted to share with everybody. And this was special number 1. It had a clip of an interview that I did with Josh Gates at San Diego Comic-Con 2010, and then there were a couple of clips from the first ever appearance Josh had on DT Fan Radio. If you like this, please be sure to share it, subscribe, and hit the thumbs up on the video. If you hit thumbs down, that will be really sad, but either way, it's your choice. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
The first highlight show that I'm doing will be some of my favorite moments from my first interview with Josh on BlogTalkRadio, which was September of 2009. But to begin the show, I will play for you brain fart. I'll play for you my favorite moment from when I interviewed Josh at San Diego Comic-Con this past summer. So I will start with that.
Okay, we meet again.
We do.
Just want to say really quick, you have the necklace on.
Oh, I do today.
The iconic necklace. Maybe I'll weasel some close shots of those for you.
It's very dangerous. Don't get too close.
I won't. I'll blow up. I will blow up. So a question that a lot of fans had, I even had it too, so I'll nag you about it. Why haven't you updated your personal website in a long time?
That's a great question. What I keep needing to do is actually take it down because I want to hire a web firm to come in and do sort of redesign of the whole thing. I've been meaning to do it for a long time. I want to be able to kind of make it a bit more of a blog and be able to write from the road and post to it remotely and have it be more interactive while I'm traveling, since traveling is a big part of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the ability to kind of self-design that, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to get someone this summer to get into it and help me out with it.
All right.
But I appreciate the nagging. It needs to be done. I need to be nagged.
Yeah, because everyone's like, it's the old sci-fi logo.
I know, it's true.
Okay, so that's just one of the instances where I kind of bust on Josh a little bit. So now I will play for you some of my favorite segments from when I interviewed Josh on Blog Talk Radio for the first show. And I tried to edit these together as best as I could, but I hope you guys will enjoy it.
And the way that a lot of cable television works is that the actual networks don't make the shows. They buy them from other companies. And so, Sci-Fi doesn't have like their own studio where they make shows. They have their network and they have executives, but they purchase their shows from other companies that make them. So, in the case of Destination Truth, Ping Pong has offices in Hollywood, and I work there. And when we're getting ready to do a new cycle of the show, the very first thing we do is we go to local news from around the world. We get on Google, we get on the Internet, we start looking at newspapers online, and we look for stories that are in the news because, there's a certain threshold of what works as a Destination Truth story. It has to be a really interesting story, whether it's a creature or a paranormal phenomenon or a haunting, but it also has to have some relevance. It has to have people attached to it that can say, I saw this thing, I experienced this thing. There's lots of great mythology around the world, but we're not going to go look for the Cyclops because nobody's seen it in a few thousand years. So we want to go to places where people are reporting a current experience because that's really the heartbeat of the show, is trying to get to the bottom of things. And so we start with developing stuff off of the Internet and local newspapers around the world. And that gives us a kind of start point. And then we start looking at the globe and trying to figure out a route. And Destination Truth, one of the things that you don't really clearly see when you watch it is the way in which the show is routed. And it's a very complicated process to route the show and to kind of go around the world and hop back and film segments both here and overseas. And so we have to kind of figure out a route that makes sense. And occasionally, we'll have stories. We may have a great story up in Siberia and Russia and then another great story down in New Zealand. But sometimes it gets too hard to zigzag, and we try to kind of create straight lines across the planet as we travel. And so we then kind of look line of sight and see what are some other places we'd like to go. Sometimes it's based on location. Sometimes we say, God, we've really never been to this country or that country. And then we talk to local, what are called fixers or producers in those countries, and we try to determine if there's anything kind of going on there. And we work with locals in different places to help us develop the stories. And then once we have a grouping of stories that we think makes the grade, I sit with the executive producer of the show. I present a lot of the research, and we hammer it out together. We have a great partnership, him and I. And then we march on up to Sci-Fi, to the offices, and we take a big meeting with the executives there, and we lay out our hopes for the season. And then they'll chime in with concerns that they have, and they'll let us know if they want to redirect certain things or if there's stories that don't hold interest to them. And then we go back to the drawing board and refine it a little bit more. And in pretty short order, we have a final grouping, and then we get into trying to book it and then trying to line up a lot of other things along the way. You know, be heading up to Vermont and hopefully have some new toys to play with up there.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Stand by. The good news is I bought a premium account, so I can edit this out later. Womp womp. Okay. Switchboard's back on the air. Let's try this again.
You know, be heading up to Vermont and hopefully have some new toys to play with up there.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for letting me on here. And
Is that where you are? Are you up in Vermont?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
terrific.
I live in Milton, which is about, half an hour away from Burlington, so.
Great. Great part of the country.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, Amber, sorry about that, Amber. I did not have your number down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's, it's been a long day. That's my alibi. I'm sticking to it.
Hey, that's okay. It's been a long day for me, too, so I get it.
Well, it's
All right,
good
my
talking to
dear.
you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, goodness. Poor Amber. All right.
She made it through.
Steve. Yeah, well, I got her on. It's all good. Thank you again for extending this a little while. I know there were a lot of fans who wanted to ask you more questions.
No, of course. I'm happy to do it.
All right. Let's see. Caller 508. Let's see who's calling. Can you hear me over there?
Hi.
Hello.
Am I really on the air, or am I just talking to myself?
You are not
on the
talking
air.
to yourself. You're on the air.
Oh, nice. I'm calling from Hawaii, actually. So.
Oh, where are you in Hawaii?
Oh, wait. Is this Stacy?
Yes.
Hi, Stacy.
And so I think it depends on the person. It depends on, where you're at in the show. Probably depends if you have food poisoning or not. But we sometimes we go out and we have drinks. Sometimes we catch up on emails. Sometimes we read a book. I think it just really depends on the person and also kind of where you're at in the world.
So you guys pretty much use up a lot of passports.
Oh yeah, we go through a lot of passports, and we actually, that's good that you say that. I may need to add a few pages to mine actually before we go out again. But we definitely, we all have different interests. What island are you on in Hawaii?
Oahu.
Oh, great. I love Hawaii. I haven't been there in a while. I really love it.
Well, I'm a cold weather person, so this is something.
Yeah. You prefer the cold weather?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Well,
How is that possible?
You're in the wrong place.
Well, like I said, I'm in the military, so I have no choice. So.
Yeah. Well, but if you're going to be in the military, being deployed in Oahu is not a bad gig.
Well, yeah, I guess that's right. Well, thank you, Josh. I mean, again, thank you, Amanda. I didn't really think I was going to actually be on the show.
Yeah, no problem. No, I mean that just goes to show you how close knit the Destination Truth fan movement is. Because a year ago today, nobody knew each other, and as soon as I heard Hawaii, I was like, that has to be Stacy.
Well, that's great, and Stacy, thanks for calling in, and thanks for your service. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Awesome. That's so awesome. Well, thank you. I'm on my way to softball, so I gotta go.
All right, softball. You got things going on. It's a busy night.
Yes, it's my Friday. I worked really hard.
Well, you've earned it. Go and have fun at softball.
Okay, thank you. Thank you again, Amanda. You guys rock.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, bye.
That is insane. Yeah, that's so weird. I just heard Hawaii, and I was like, wait, that's Stacy. Because there are certain fans, really active fans. I have to give a shout-out to a lot of the Destination Truth fans who have really just been very proactive. They, aside from what I do, they do a lot of stuff to help, get the show exposure too. So big thank you to everybody.
Absolutely.
All right. So before I let you loose with the fans, I have another round of rapid-fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Pilsner or summer ale?
Summer ale.
Summer ale?
Yeah.
Stephen King or Michael Crichton?
Michael Crichton, but that's a close one. But I've read all of Michael Crichton books.
Is the tomato a fruit or a vegetable?
I think it's a fruit.
See, I agree. I agree with that.
I think it is.
Do you live for today or do you live for tomorrow?
Today.
Today. All right. Top 5 TV shows that you're watching right now.
Top 5 TV shows I'm watching right now. I am watching Hell's Kitchen. I am watching Mad Men. I am watching. It's tough because we're like in the summer break here. I'm watching Hell's Kitchen, Mad Men. I'm watching Wipeout. I don't know if that's like my guilty pleasure. I'm watching The Daily Show, and I'm watching. Weekly.
Are you watching Flipping Out yet? Because I know the new season just premiered.
No, I didn't even know that it premiered. I like that show. I'm not watching that, and I think I'm watching. God, I don't know what else I'm watching. I'm watching.
Destination Truth on
Destination
Sci-Fi
Truth next week. Shameless plug.
And you're watching Ghost Hunters, obviously.
I'm watching Ghost Hunters, obviously. And if it were the fall, I would be watching The Office and 30 Rock as well.
Yeah, the summer lineup tends to be a little thinner.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And
love Mad Men. Mad Men. I think Mad Men's the best thing on TV, so I'm watching a lot of that.
Yeah, I see you quoting Mad Men on Twitter all the time, so I figured that would be in there.
It's such a great show. Well, everything else has been basically horrible. Time Traveler's Wife and G.I. Joe and Transfer. It's been awful.
I saw Observe and Report, and I literally just lost my passion for movies in one whole day. I saw that.
Yeah.
I thought it was such a joke. Oh my god.
I'm saying Star Trek and District 9 and The Cove, and I can't even think of what else I've seen this year. I mean, I see almost everything, which is crazy, but it's like I feel like there have been so few really memorable, great movies that have come out this year. I'm sure there's like a couple big ones I'm missing that have been terrific.
Probably. That's fine. It's been kind of once again a thin season for movies.
But I'm saying District 9 is the movie of the summer for sure.
Yeah, that movie was screwed up, but I definitely agree. It was really good.
Mhm.
All right, so time for the fans. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm definitely ready.
All right, fans. I know you're out there listening, and I know you're wanting to call in. So the first list of callers, please call in now, and I'll take you on. Come on, guys. I know you're there. Oh my goodness. Well, while I'm waiting for some fans to call in, how about another either or question? Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jaws. If you had to watch only one of those movies for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
So it's an absolutely unfair question, first of all, because they're basically the two best films ever made. I'm going to say this might be the dark horse winner, but I'm definitely going to say Jaws.
Yeah,
I know Jaws backwards to forwards. I mean, I know them both backwards to forwards, but for some reason Jaws is to me, if I can only watch one forever, it might be Jaws.
That's a good answer. I like that. So, getting down to kind of the origin of Destination Truth, or the birth of Destination Truth, when did this idea for the show come up, and when were you contacted to take place in it?
It's a funny story, actually. The guy who started Destination Truth, which you probably know, Amanda, is this guy Neil Mant, who I think you've talked to in the past about Big Borrow and Deal. And Neil is a guy he's a producer here in Los Angeles. He's worked with ESPN in the past, and he had come up with this show and pitched it to Sci-Fi. It was sort of a different show when he pitched it. It was, it bore some similarities to the show as it is now, but it was a little bit different. And he pitched it to the channel, and the channel had been looking for something to put with Ghost Hunters. You know, Ghost Hunters is a real, in every sense of the word, hit show for Sci-Fi. It does amazing ratings, and they've had a hard time finding something to put next to it. And this is before GHI came along and Ghost Hunters had been sort of franchised out. And so they had tried a couple of things alongside Ghost Hunters. They hadn't found things that worked, and he had pitched this show, which was similar to Ghost Hunters in that it was going to be about investigations and about looking into the unknown, but it was going to be more cryptozoological, and it was going to be more travel-based. And so they actually shot a pilot for the show with a different host.
I don't like that.
I know. And the channel didn't really care for it, and they felt like the tone of it was kind of wrong, and so they basically said to Neil, we'd like to do a proper casting where we do a search and we try to find the right guy for this. And I had just known Neil through this ESPN thing that I did with him a couple of years before, but also I just sort of knew him socially here in L.A. We actually lived in the same building at one point. And he knew that I was just like an avid travel guy who loved to travel, and so he said to the channel, I've got a guy that I think would be great for this. And they said, well, we didn't like the other guy, so we want to do a proper casting. And he said, okay, but agree to meet my friend Josh. And they said, okay, we'll agree to meet your friend Josh. And while all this was happening, I was overseas with a couple of buddies of mine. This is a long story, by the way, I'm sorry. I was overseas with a couple of buddies of mine in Africa. And I had planned this big trip to go climb Kilimanjaro in Africa. And I was with two buddies of mine, and we were climbing, and I get this email. I'm in the middle of Tanzania, and I get this email from Neil Mant in Los Angeles that says, come home, I have a great job opportunity for you. And of course, I'm in Africa, I'm not coming home, and it's LA. People say things like that, right? So I finished up my trip, and I was headed home, and I emailed him back, and he said, come straight to my office when you land. Don't even go home. Come from the airport right to my office. So I went over to his office, and I was all filthy and dirty, and I'd been in Africa for a month, and I stank, and my clothes were literally, it was just like I had this huge, horrible beard, and I had like a neck beard, and just like gross. Like I looked homeless. And I came into his office, and he said, there's this show, and Sci-Fi wants to do a pilot, but they're looking for the right guy, and I think he'd be great for it, but they've narrowed it down to some other guys from this casting, but I want you to go to the channel tomorrow for this meeting, and I want you to come just like this. Don't shower, don't shave, don't change your clothes. Come to this meeting looking just like this.
And so
I said, okay.
When you walked in, they're like, who let Gary Busey into our damn office?
Seriously, when I walked in, I thought they were going to turn me. It was super embarrassing, actually, because when I walked in, I felt like they were going to turn me away from the front door at Universal because I looked horrible. And I went into the waiting room at Sci-Fi, which is up in this tower here in Los Angeles. It's kind of this tall building, and they're way up in the sky, and it's a kind of futuristic-looking office. It's a little bit intimidating. And there are these three other guys that they've narrowed it down to. And these three dudes are just sitting on this couch, and they're all wearing business suits. Like, they look great. They're all, like, game show guys. And I look like Homeless Joe, and they called in, each one of these guys, one at a time, and I was the last guy they called in, and I walked into this room, and there was a bunch of people in this room, more people than I had thought were going to be in there. There's like 10 or 15 people, and Neil is sitting in there, and everyone kind of looks at me and kind of, looks a little taken aback because I looked all grisly. And I said, listen, first of all, I just want to apologize about my appearance. I just got off a plane from Tanzania, and that was it. That's how you get a TV show, apparently, is you just have to look bad enough at the meeting, and if it's a travel adventure show, that's how you get it. And so they thought that there was like an authenticity about me that these other guys didn't have, and they agreed to do a pilot with me, which we shot in Malaysia, and that episode is sort of cycled into season 1. And that was it. That's how I got the job. I basically went in and looked really terrible at an interview, and that seems to have worked.
Well done. In this economy right now, I guess that's a good way to do it as well. Just go in with really tattered clothes and be like, I need this job. I can't.
Exactly. Well, I think it's probably job specific. If you're going in for a Wall Street position, I think probably the big beard does not work. But if you're going in for ragged World Explorer, I guess dress the part. That's the theme. It's funny. The other night I was watching. I try to watch a lot of the travel shows that are on other channels, and I try to just kind of keep abreast of what the world looks like out there for travel television. And so part of that is obviously I watch Anthony Bourdain, who's the sort of reigning king of the Travel Channel, and and a great host. Certainly not taking anything away from him, but I saw an episode where somebody asked him that, and he said that the most disgusting thing that he'd eaten in no reservations was this shark meat they serve in Iceland, which we actually ate on the show, which was foul. There's no question about it. But I thought that it was sort of stomachable, which I guess led me to believe that it's sort of. I guess it just depends on your palate. The worst thing I've eaten on the show, which actually made its way onto the air, was that balut egg in the Philippines, which I vomited. I at least tried to turn my head away from camera when I did it. But I'll try to eat anything, but I couldn't get that one down. It's this it's on the show if you've seen the episode. It's like an overdeveloped egg, and so it has bones and wings and a beak and part of a bird in there, and it's considered an aphrodisiac. I don't know how that's possible, but it is really, really foul. And
well,
so
see,
that's to me the one that's taken me down. That came right back up.
Oh, okay. See, I kind of expected you to say, wasn't there like a spider or something in Africa?
But you know the thing about all the fried stuff, whether it's like fried ants, fried spiders, fried crickets, it doesn't taste like anything. If you can kind of mentally win the battle of what you're eating, you know, all those fried foods just taste like oil. So if you can at least mentally go to a happy place where you're not thinking about it, you might be able to do it. But just the crunchiness and the smell and the taste of that egg was just too much for me.
Oh my God!
I hit my limit.
Yeah, that is. I think I just grossed myself out with that question. Hey,
Angela.
Yeah, I know. Whoa, go me.
Well, thank you very much for watching it, and you know, I should say in general to everybody who's been really, you know, great to listen in and call in tonight that I sort of feel bad that we've been off the air for as long as we have. We basically have this almost year hiatus between the end of season 2 and the airing of season 3, and it's just kind of the way that it shook out, and it took a while for Sci-Fi to reactivate us and send us out, and then we did a longer stint in the field than we normally do, and then we've had a long time editing. So it's not, and then we wanted to kind of hold the show and have it come back in the fall. And so we really appreciate everybody that's kind of held on, waited for the show to come back, and you know, we really hope that next week when it comes back that it's well viewed and that people didn't kind of forget about us. So thank you for watching, and thank your wife for turning on to it.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, man.
Cheers.
Okay, a couple of quick questions from the chat room. Someone asked, what happened with the Mongol rally?
Oh, the Mongol rally. This is such a sad story. I have wanted to do the Mongol rally for a couple of years now since I found out about it. And the way that it works is that you essentially have to get chosen to drive in it by lottery. And they have a day when they do this lottery, and it's over the internet. It's like super unreliable, and the website crashes, and it's one of those like everyone tries to get one of these 200 slots within, 2 seconds. And for a few years in a row, I got smoked. I just never was able to pull a place in it. And then last year, when they did the drawing, I got pulled to do it. And this great friend of mine, Colin McNaughton, and I, we're committed to go and do this thing this summer. And the reality is just that the show kind of got in the way. And, we had to be shooting, and then we had to be working on the show in post and getting ready for it to air, and so it ultimately just wasn't possible. And it's a shame because now I have to go back into that stupid lottery system next year and try to do it again. But the Mongol Rally has eluded me, but it will. I will attempt to conquer it at some point.
You probably have more of a chance of winning the Mongol Rally lottery than winning the actual Mega Millions lottery, which is great.
I'm thinking about giving up on the Mega Millions. It's not really working out for me.
No, I don't think you're alone with that, so I wouldn't really worry about that. All right,
but yeah, so the Mongol Rally was not meant to be this year. And the fact that it was the show that got in the way is a pretty good substitute. So, it's something hopefully we'll be able to do in the future.
All right. Well, I'm glad you took the time to talk to me, and you should hire me and at least give Amanda a cameo for all the hard work she puts in.
She deserves it for sure.
All right. We'll keep
I'm
that
going to kill you.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate you tuning in tonight.
All right. Thanks, Elijah.
Yeah.
All right. Next. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to kill him. Next
you do deserve a cameo.
I know. I mean, if you guys are going to do anything that, you could put a 5'1" little short chick in there, I could crawl into a cave or something. I don't know.
Got it. We'll try to work it out. The problem is getting you to wherever we are.
Yeah. All right. That's awesome. I'll kill him gently then. How about that?
That sounds good.
All right. So the next on the show, we have Cherie from Texas.
Thank you. This was amazing. You're a sweetheart for doing this. And
and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. We're a fan. My daughter Jamie she's 10. She's a fan, and my son, who's standing here, he's 12. He has Asperger's, and he really is into it. He's like, okay, cryptid, that's it. That's the bomb,
Oh, that's great. That's really, really nice to hear, and we hope the show is entertaining and funny and scary and has travel, and we hope that people kind of find something in all those areas. So it's really nice to hear that he's enjoying it and that your family's enjoying it.
Well, thank you very much, and I do agree. Amanda needs to be on the show sometime.
Oh, God.
Amanda, are you paying these people?
Josh, I'm right out of college. I work in retail. I have no money. Take that into consideration.
You got it.
Anyway, thank you, guys.
Thank you
so
much.
Sherry. Oh, my God. Yeah, no. Yeah, I have no money to pay anybody. So this is no, I get a lot of people who say this all the time, like, how did you get this job? And I tell everybody I just do the fan stuff because I like doing it. I definitely am not getting paid for it, so.
Well, we really appreciate it, and I think it really does do a lot for the show. You know, Destination Truth is really, you know, we kind of think of it as like the little show that could. It's on a bit late. You know, it's on at 10, and we are really fortunate to have Ghost Hunters in front of us because they're very much the wind at our sails. But you know, it's a really ambitious show for what it costs to make it. And the fact of the matter is that it's really one of the most international shows on TV, which is a fact that we sort of figured out along the way, that we end up touching down in more countries in a season than Amazing Race. And that's amazing because we make the show, you know, with a very lean group of people, and so it's really gratifying to have, you know, folks supporting it, and, you know, obviously all the work you do at the website, but also just fans calling in and stuff like that. We really appreciate it. It actually really means a lot to us.
Zach?
Hello?
Hey, Zach, how are you?
There?
Hi. Got a question for you, Josh. I was just wondering, when you travel and stuff, what type of music do you listen to?
Oh, this is going to lose some fans. Now we're getting into dangerous territory here.
Oh, okay.
So everybody on the show carries an iPod, right? It's like standard issue at this point. Everyone goes around the world, and we always kind of keep them out of the shots and stuff. But you know, you take these 20-hour plane rides and these 10-hour train rides. Everybody plugs into their iPod at some point to, you know, take a break and get off into their own little world. And everybody on the show has different music tastes. I am a little bit hesitantly, I'm going to say, I'm kind of a big country music fan. I know it's devastating news for many listeners. Good country though, not the junk, not the crappy pop top 40 country. I do love country and bluegrass and stuff like that, so I listen to a lot of that. And I listen to a lot of, you know, I guess the other stuff that's less controversial is I listen to, you know, classic rock and rock and roll, early rock and roll. I love the Beatles. I'm a big Beatles guy. And some 80s stuff, and that's about it. I don't really get into hip-hop and things like that, but we have really eclectic music tastes, so we'll often fight if there's a vehicle with an adapter that we can get the music out of the car. We'll sort of take turns, and everybody kind of, there's some diplomacy about who gets to listen to what when. And so I feel like I'm at least getting exposed to a lot of different music on the show.
All right. That was awesome. Amanda, I just want to thank you. This was totally rad, awesome, sweet. I got to go now.
Well, Zach, thanks for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, man.
No worries. Have a good one.
Radical, dude. See you later. A couple of questions from the chat room. Everybody wonders, what is the story with your necklace that you wear all the time, Josh?
The necklace gets a lot of questions, and it has not really been addressed. This may be the first time the necklace has ever really been addressed. The necklace is magical. No, it's not magical. It's a necklace that I've had since I was a kid, and I wish there was a better story about it. But my mom's British, and when I was a kid, we used to go to England like once a year, and I sort of remember getting it. I remember it looked a little different then. It was on a different kind of chain. It's like a pendant that was on a different kind of chain, and I was really young. And I wanted it. I saw it in like a store. It's such a bad story because I can't really remember where I got it, which maybe sounds mysterious. Maybe that's helping the mystique of the necklace. But I bought it. I had it as a kid. I always kept it. I didn't wear it a lot as a kid, but I always had it. It was always like in a drawer. It was in my car once I got my driver's license. And then the chain that it was on broke, and I think that was part of why I didn't wear it. Is it was like on a silver chain and it looked weird. And then we put it on this sort of hempy, string, and it looked kind of cool, and I started wearing it again, and I started wearing it only when I traveled. And I would wear it every time I took a trip, and then I would come home and I would take it off. And literally, I'm looking at it right now. It's hanging on a hook in my loft, and I don't wear it until the day we leave to go do the show, and then I put it on, and then I keep it on until the day we get home. It's
Very
like my
cool,
travel
yeah.
necklace. That's the only real story to it. But it's just something I've had since I was a kid, and I just associate it with travel.
So it's basically like a travel superstition then.
Yeah, exactly. I think that somehow it's it is. It's like my lucky necklace, I guess.
Very nice. Yeah, a lot of people are always wondering. A couple of people had some theories as to whether it was a microphone or not, but I figured there was some sort of story around that.
Yeah, it is not. It is, but it is magical. Make sure you spread that rumor. More lighthearted, or if people just are into elves. But I think that's kind of, in some ways, it's been an indicator to us that it doesn't always have to be some big scary creature out in the woods. It can be something a little more lighthearted, and we're talking about in season 3.5, which we're getting ready to do now, we're looking at a few stories that are kind of along those lines that are a little bit more, a little more lighthearted.
Great. Another question from Robbie in the Philippines. Oh boy, here's a hot topic. How come you guys do all of your searching at night instead of in the day?
It's a great question, and it's kind of a two-part answer. The first part of the answer is that in most of the cases, most of the sightings happen at night. People claim that they see a lot of strange creatures that are nocturnal, that are shy, that are out more at night, and that a lot of animals, in general, are more active at night. We try to do daytime investigations. Sometimes on the show you'll see a little mini daytime investigation, and then it plays kind of quick, and then we get into the nighttime investigation. And we try to actually mix it up. The second part of the answer is that the channel really likes us to be out in the dark because it's scarier. And so when we have these two investigations, if we have great stuff happening during the day, we definitely use it. But if we have great stuff happening during the day and great stuff at night, we tend to do the night stuff because it really works for the show, and that's the part of the show where we kind of want to get a little more serious, a little more down and dirty, and really kind of put ourselves in harm's way, and that's a great time of day to do that. It's sort of like saying why don't ghost hunters go during the day to investigate these places? And it's not that ghosts necessarily come out at night more, although I'm sure that just like creatures, they are reported more often at night. It has to do, I think, with atmosphere.
Great.
I've got best man duties ahead of me. I've already survived the bachelor party, which we did in Las Vegas, and now I've got to go and there's rehearsal dinners, and then he's doing a clam bake, and then a ceremony, and so I'm only going for a few days, and I'm kind of scheduled the whole time that I'm there. But I am going to try to get back east a few more times before we jet off again. So I would love to set something like that up. I think that would be a lot of fun. I would be really open to that, Amanda. We should just talk about finding a time to do it and making it happen.
All right, great. So you guys heard it. There will be a sort of meet and greet situation, and we'll plan it so that you guys have a lot of advance notice, so that way if you're coming from afar, don't fly in a plane, obviously. But, yeah, that should be pretty good.
Yeah, it'd be great.
That's awesome. I can even conceivably plan something for the West Coast, too, since you're out there more. Would you be willing to do that as well?
Oh, for sure. That would be a lot of fun. We would be happy to do that. And a lot of the crew live out in this area, and so we would be thrilled to do something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely would get in touch with the rest of the cast and crew to make it a sort of DT affair.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. And then I do try to get down to Comic-Con every year. I usually do some work for the channel down there. This year I moderated the Eureka panel for them, and so I try to get down there and hang out with the sci-fi peeps.
Great, awesome. All right,
also,
well,
it's an excuse for me to hang out with some of the people on some of the other shows that I have that I'm obsessed with. I get to hang out with the Battlestar people that I like so much.
What were some of the favorite things that you did at the recent Comic-Con that you were at?
Well, Sci-Fi throws this party down at Comic-Con every year, and it's like their big party of the year, and it's this they it's the one time a year where Sci-Fi like goes all out and throws this crazy party, and I go to it because I'm on the channel, so they can't not invite me, and it's crazy, and there's all these people there that I'm completely awestruck by, and it's just like this wacky assembly of people that are really interesting folks working in film and TV, and Stan Lee was there last year when I was there, and you literally look around the room, and there's a cast of Heroes, and there's a cast of Battlestar, and there's Michael Emmerich from Lost, and there's J.J. Abrams, and literally I feel like I should be valeting the cars or something. But I go down there every year because they've been really nice enough to invite me to moderate panels. I'm kind of friends with Colin on Eureka. I've gotten to know him a bit over the years, and so it was great for me to be able to go and participate in supporting their show, and then I stick around for the party because who doesn't want to hang out with some of those cool people?
Oh, let's see what. Someone else is asking another question. Can you ask them if they will ever make a shirt with his phrase "We're gonna die" on it? I guess like the main question would be, do you have any idea if there will be retail for Destination Truth yet?
We've talked about it. We've talked about it, and when I say we've talked about it, I mean every single year I bring it up to the channel. And we got pretty far down the pipeline this year, talking about doing a little bit of limited merchandising for the show, and I saw a couple of specs, little sort of mock-ups of a couple of different products for the show, and I don't know if they're going into production or not. I have zero information about it. I do know that the website for the show, because Sci-Fi rebranded, I can't believe nobody's asked about that yet, because Sci-Fi is rebranded and has a whole new look and a new feel. The Sci-Fi website has a whole new feel, but some of the individual show pages are the same ones from the old sci-fi.com, and they're slowly getting a real makeover, and our site will be one of the first shows to really benefit from that. So very soon, I would say in the next couple of days, the show should be have a whole new website associated with it, and maybe merchandising will show up on there. I don't know the answer to that exactly, but certainly we've had a bunch of folks ask that, and we would love to see it for the show.
I think you should have a shirt that says "What was that" on it, because I think that's officially your guys' logo for the show.
Absolutely. I'm hoping to copyright that phrase. The fact that people have an interest in the unknown.
Right. I actually had a really good question from the fans. If I could extend this radio show, would you be able to stay on for another half an hour to take more questions, or do you have to be somewhere after that?
No, I'd be happy to take some more questions. I'm getting up in the morning and I'm taking a flight, so I'm just sort of I'm trying to pack and get some stuff done, but I'm so appreciative that people are on here and that you put it together. I'm more than happy to hang out for a bit.
All right, great. I'm going to extend the show another half an hour, you guys, if I can. Let's see. Da-da-da. Then more comments we have in the chat room right now. Josh is cute. Josh is cute. Josh is really cute. And then Jess says, I can't comment that he's cute. He's my cousin. That's gross.
Where are my detractors? Where are the people who wanna scream and yell at me?
I know. Like, I need to rally them over and be like, can you chase him down the street while photographers are, watching him?
All right, guys, so that was the first highlights.
Thank you guys so much. I assume that you made it to the end of this interview, and I really appreciate you guys watching my videos and listening to them. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Go to singularityfanpages.com if you want past and future content related to Josh Gates, as well as some fun Destination Truth and Expedition Unknown materials. I am also on Twitter at DTOnSciFiFans. I really appreciate the support, and I hope that you guys have a very nice day. Or evening. I don't know what time it is for you. Okay, bye!